Welcome back to our special broadcast, I-24 News, on the Israel-Hamas war, day 31. Now, Yoni Diller is a young Israeli with roots both in the United States and in Italy, who survived the Nova Musical Festival massacre on October 7th by fleeing into the desert, wandering for some 5 hours until finding a safe haven. Now, he's told that story already here on I-24 News, but he's back now with us because he just got back from the United States telling his story there with those of other survivors on American college campuses and other venues, including such universities as Harvard, Columbia, and my alma mater, NYU, New York University, which unfortunately have been the sites of some extreme anti-Israel and, yes, you could say anti-Semitic incidents. He's also currently working on raising funds for IDF crucial needs and recovery for the vital infrastructure damage due to the terror attacks. Joining us in studio is Yonatan Yoni Diller. Thank you for joining us, Yoni.
Thank you for having me.
Well, first of all, let's hear about your trip to the United States. Especially, I'm impressed that after the experience you had there at the Nova Festival, then to be able to just even travel and start recounting that to audiences abroad.
Well, I don't see I have much choice right now. There are certain ways to cope with such tragedy, such trauma. For me, it's just sharing and speaking about it. So I'm kind of in a mission, all right? I'm here speaking on behalf of the people who don't have the fortune to tell the story, for the people that didn't survive, for friends that were kidnapped, for the families that are crying. So that's my meaning. That's what drives me to speak. And as a matter of fact, I did come from the States after a 2-week trip, speaking all kinds of campuses, like you said, Columbia, NYU, Harvard, MIT, Princeton, and Yale, and speaking to the students. And hopefully it will make a change.
So let me ask you then, how did they react when you were recounting your own personal experience? As I said, you have fled in really, your life was that close to coming, but you did manage to get away from the massacre there. What kind of reactions when you're recounting that are you finding on campuses?
A month ago I survived the October 7th massacre. Right. I'm not going to start telling the whole story, but really long story short, I've seen things that I really wish other people just not to see. I mean, it's things that I keep sharing and sharing because for me, it just makes me stronger. For me, it's just kind of it's very, very important to share that story and let people understand who Hamas really is. What kind of terrorists are there? What did they do? Whether it's beheading babies or burning people alive, killing my friends, that's what I should tell. I'm not here to talk politics. I'm not here to give any history lessons. People should know, and people want to hear. Unfortunately, as you can see in America, there's big anti-Semitism wave. So my intention is this not to be. I don't want this to be a tsunami of hate, which is becoming that way because of the radicals. And campuses in the U.S. are not doing very well. Students feel afraid.
Now, what are you hearing from them when you meet with them and you ask them, and what are they telling you?
After I give my speech, my story, I try to give them some kind of hope. My main message for them is keep their head up, choose your battles. When it's choosing to speak up, you gotta really be careful who you speak up. Always be aware of what's around you, and don't let anyone put you down. But again, you cannot be afraid. That's the last thing you should do, and we cannot afford that. And people do feel afraid. People don't have the self-confidence anymore they had before. I think in my opinion, there was always anti-Semitism. Just, October 7th, Pandora just opened, and I really feel the good feedback from the students. After I finish the lecture, I get all these positive feedbacks that they feel a lot more secure and more united, and that thing only gives me the drive to continue, and I will continue until I get tired of it. And that's kind of my meaning. So doing all these tours around the States was very impactful.
Right. Did you have any negative experiences? We hear stories, we see these incidents on college campuses. First of all, there's certainly the rallies in which people are singing Palestinian from the river to this will be free from the river to the sea. We see posters of the hostages taken, many of them from the music festival, being torn down. Many of those tearing them down are college-age students in America, college-age kids in America.
What I did with my friends in New York, York, we reprinted those posters. We
Right.
edited them. We put all the names of my friends, and we put them all in the city, all over the city, in Central Park, everywhere. Also in D.C. The people that I were with, they actually hired a truck that had the posters of the kidnapped on the truck, so no one can tear it, because
Right.
it's trucks that cost quite a lot of money.
Sure.
And they tour them around for more than 2 hours in New York and D.C. So I mean, this hate just continues and continues, and people are just addicted and are drawn to this propaganda. And like I always say, the truth is, like, all the lies that have been spread for the last weeks, they spread much faster than truth and real based facts, and that's why I'm here. And it's kind of trendy, you know, to be anti-Semitic nowadays, unfortunately. And I don't think it's a matter of Jews, not Jews. There's no justification for what the Hamas did, and that's what I want people to know. And they cannot just put their head down. And people do feel afraid to walk outside, and they shouldn't.
Right.
We're in 2023, and it's also really fascinating to see how in 2023 people refuse to accept the fact that Hamas did all this horrific massacre on October 7th.
Right.
And they're denying it because their hate of Judaism, of Israelis. And
What would you like to see happen now? I mean, what would be your advice to either those organs of the government or Jewish organizations, either in the U.S. or even those that are involved here in public diplomacy for Israel? What would you like to see to carry on this effort beyond just individuals like yourself going out and speaking your truth?
Look, as an individual, I think everyone has the influence to do anything. Okay, my 3 pillars, I would say, would first tell my story to whoever wants to hear it from firsthand. Number 2, I would say that I'm here to fight anti-Semitism by telling the truth and tell students and people how to cope with this hate and anti-Semitism by speaking up. And number 3 is raise money. So right now I'm raising money for IDF soldiers, working with all kinds of organizations. I think the Jewish organizations in the U.S. or just people that are friendly with Israel can donate and give their hand to anyone who can. And also, it's important to share the real facts. People are afraid to speak up because, again, there's all this hate, and they're afraid of their lives, and they'll know that they support Israel. Then they'll put them outside their social circle, and this is the point where we should be more united and do share these things. Whether that's the way to actually show the real support. So anyone has an impact. You know, if I'm just a simple guy from Israel who survived this
Right.
terror attack, and I'm here to tell the story. And if I can make an impact, anyone can make an impact. It's very as simple as that. And the last thing we should do is be afraid of these radicals, and they can continue being the radicals they are, because haters will be haters. So we have to just stand up for ourselves like we did all these years, and we'll survive this. It's just a matter of time. So I think personally, the more we get into Gaza and try to kill all the infrastructure of the terror of Hamas, this riots and the hate will grow. And that's why we have to stay strong and more united, more than ever. Because it is a modern second Holocaust, in my opinion. And it's going to become worse and worse. And that's why we have to keep talking about it and be more aware.
All right.
And I'm here to spread that awareness.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us and giving you the chance to spread awareness here on I-24 News. Yoni Diller, keep speaking truth to power there. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.